Are you constantly looking for that extra edge, that X factor that separates you from everybody else? Hello there, high achievers. Welcome to another episode of Maximum Human Performance. I'm your host, human performance expert, Brad Valancourt. Thank you for joining. Today we're going to talk about what it's like for high achievers and trying to go for that personal growth. As high achievers, you're always trying to find what's the best way to get to that next level. And you think about things in terms of, okay, how can I do that with work? How can I do that with maybe my relationships? Now we're going to look at the personal relationship that you have with whom else, right? The one who matters most, you. So today, have you been looking at the world in terms of black and white? Very absolute, very binary. Now, when you look through life in that kind of lens, what do you see? Not very much, right? You don't get to see the spectrum. You don't get to see all these little nuances in between. All you see is the extreme here and here. And hey, that is not the way to live. You're missing out on so much. I know this from personal experiences. And man, I tell you, when I was younger, wow, everything was black or white. I needed to have a definitive answer for everything. It drove people nuts. I drove people nuts wanting to know what the absolute answer was, even if nobody knew. And if there wasn't an answer for me to find, then I would go digging. I would spend way too much time trying to find something that just didn't matter, just for the sake of trying to find out what the hell is that answer. I need to know what that answer is. And that was a lot of time wasted. Just wasted. Have you ever done that yourself? Trying to find out what the answer is to something that just doesn't matter? And then you end up finding out that there is no answer. There is no absolute answer. It could be this. It could be that. Right? Science will tell you that it could be a lot of different things. It just doesn't matter. What does matter is if you have the absolute answer, great. But don't go digging for something that's not there or trying to spend all kinds of time on something that is just very low priority if you don't need to. Because that's not the way to grow. And today, let's get you growing. Let's get you growing right away. You ever hear of the term self-awareness? Right? What does that mean? Well, what it really means is you've got to be aware of not only what's around you, what's immediately around you, right? Things like proprioception. If you are an athlete or were an athlete, then in your training you may have done things with sensory deprivation, like maybe having your eyes closed and standing on one foot while you're doing different things with your arms and trying to keep balance, not falling over. Things like that, so that you get to figure out what's going on around you and not having to use your eyes if you don't have them open, but still be able to accomplish your goals by using other senses. As with self-awareness, you want to be aware of what's going on within you, what you're saying to people, how you're reacting to certain things, right? How you are reacting to certain situations. When you can be self-aware of what's going on, then you won't underreact or overreact to certain situations that happen. And you know what? You'll get a lot farther in your relationships, in your personal growth, because everything won't be like a 10 out of 10 importance where you're just on eggshells all the time, and that just sucks. It really does. Trust me, been there. Everything was a 10 out of 10 for a long time, and does not help those around you. Those around you start to wonder after a while, has this person gone cuckoo? And I'm sure it's been said a few times. When you understand that self-awareness, right, you understand what's going on, how do I react to these certain situations, how can I help without hurting myself, without hurting other people, how can I be the most constructive? When you ask those questions, then your self-awareness gets so much broader. You start to react far differently to crisis situations in a more productive manner. I know that for myself, when it comes to a crisis, I block out the things that just don't matter, and I focus on the things that do matter. When I had a woman, I was in a class, and a woman that was just listening to the class. She started to have a stroke. She was, an older woman, and her daughter, who brought her there, just happened to notice that something wasn't right. So she reached across the room and said, "Hey, Brad, you've had experience with people with strokes." I said, "Yes." Afterwards, "What's going on?" She said, "I think my mother's having a stroke. Can you tell?" So I went over and I do what I do. And yes, this woman was having a stroke. So we did exactly what needed to be done to help her get through the stroke so that she could recover 100% within 24 hours. And that's exactly what happened. I blocked everybody out, focused just immediately on the woman having the stroke, doing what needed to be done to open things up again. We had to open up her lungs. We had to get more blood flow going in certain areas that we needed the brain to function a certain way to help protect itself from any more damage. And we were able to protect it from any damage at all. She was 100% within that 24 hours. After the stroke, we had her lie down for the rest of the day, basically, and just chill. And boy, that woman was just a trooper. The very next day, it was like nothing had ever happened. Having that awareness, that self-awareness of what needed to happen, what needed to be focused on, and everything else just completely out of focus, and zero in, like laser focus with this woman. Doing that in crisis situations is going to help you out so much, just to focus on what it is that's really important and not just everything that's going on, because that is going to overwhelm you like crazy. How are you at setting goals? As most high achievers know, they have to set goals in order to get themselves to be better all the time, and that's great. But how great are you at setting goals? Do you set a goal from here to here and say, yeah, I know I can reach it, but then always fall short because you just set too big of a goal, maybe too short of a time to reach that goal, or not pull in enough resources so that you can achieve those goals? There are a lot of different factors. You have to look at everything and figure out, what is it that I need so that I can achieve that goal? Maybe it's a matter of doing it in chunks so that you can continuously build upon reaching that goal. And instead of having this massive jump, you're going to make a little jump, and then from there, another little jump, and then from there, another little jump. Next thing you know, you're past your goal because you're able to do these chunks that we're able to build upon each other. Say it's like saving money, right? Maybe you want to buy a new business, but you don't have the capital and you need to raise some capital. So then instead of looking at it, well, okay, I need maybe $10 million, I'll figure it out as, all right, I know that I can go over here and with these people, I can raise a certain amount of money, but then I'll go over here and raise a certain amount of money, and then just keep pooling with all these different opportunities and resources until you get to that $10 million, right? That's way easier than trying to find one resource to say, okay, $10 million. Right? If you can do it in one shot, wonderful. But if not, then pool all these different resources and make those chunks and stack those chunks. And next thing you know, wow, I'm above my goal. This is awesome. No matter who you are, what's the one thing that we all have in common? Yes, we need oxygen to breathe, but that's not it. Time management, right? The best that we can be at time management, the better, because we all have the same 24 hours. But boy, the one thing that sets people apart, and I love seeing this. I see this all the time with different high achievers. Man, they get this much done in a certain amount of time, maybe an hour. And then other people, they get, the average person gets this much done in the hour. Man, when you can get this much done in a smaller amount of time or the same amount of time, you get so much accomplished in your life. And then you have so much extra time that you can do to have maybe personal time or time with your family. Or just, do whatever that you like. But by maximizing your time, wow, that is huge as leverage. And as any business person knows, the more leverage you have, the better. How is your resiliency to stress? Right? That's huge. When it comes to being resilient, because we all get knocked down, but how long do you stay down? Do you stay down long enough for somebody to come by and help you up every time? right? That's going to take a lot longer than if you yourself get yourself back up, bounce back up, and try to figure out what the solution is so that you can move forward again. The longer you stay down and wallow and just try to say, woe is me, and become a victim, boy, the longer you stay down, the harder it is to get back up. And not only that, but you're missing opportunities when you're down and not vibrating at a higher level and getting ready for action again. Having that resiliency can be really difficult, especially the more times you get knocked down. However, when you have the same attitude every time you get a no, or every time you get a stoppage, a roadblock, if you get back up with the same attitude that you had going into it, that same positivity, then wow, that is huge. It's a game changer. Having that same attitude, no matter who knocks you down, what knocks you down, get back up again, dust yourself off, and say, hey, let's go. By doing that, you save yourself so much time, effort, and your confidence level way up here. But if you are wallowing or taking your time getting up and focusing in on the things that happen to you instead of looking at how you can move on from that kind of stuff, then, right, there's a huge difference between the two. Get yourself that higher vibration by bouncing back up again, ready for action, and just dusting yourself off, focusing in on what do I need to do to accomplish my goal. It doesn't have to be that same pathway that I originally thought. Maybe I need to take a couple detours knowing that it's going to be a shorter pathway or the only pathway to get to that goal. And that's all right. You're flexible with your approach, but your end goal is still the same. The one thing that comes to mind when talking about resiliency is the first time I went and played hockey after having major surgery. I mean, my balance was nowhere near where it needed to be. I mean, I was doing balance exercises just to try to get myself to be able to walk again. When I skated for the first time, boy, I got checked and I just landed right on my ass and literally bounced off my ass back onto my feet. That happened so many years ago. In fact, be about 30 years ago this year, later on this year. And yet, you know, I still remember that, and I think about that whenever I do get knocked down. It's like, hey, just bounce right back up, get it back into stride. It was so easy because I'd bounced off my ass and I landed back on my feet again. I was still moving forward. Skating was easy. And life can be like that too for you, whether it's with sports, whether it's your business or your personal growth. You being able to bounce back and allowing that focus to go straight ahead in your life, that's going to save you a ton of time. And remember, the better that you are at time management, the faster you're going to get to your goal. As a high achiever, how much do you like to learn? Some people, you know, they're very driven people, but man, they hate change. And that means they hate learning. They might be okay with learning certain things because it's very dedicated to what their goals are, but they miss out on trying to learn other things in life. So if you're continuously learning, then you're going to find different ways to solve your problems and also solve problems in different fields because you're going to have that open-mindedness. When you have that, wow, you can find so many different ways to solve your problems. In fact, here's one for you. When I was in my 20s, I had a wart that just would not go away, and it was just god-awful ugly. It was awful, and I tried everything over the counter. I went to the dermatologist, and the dermatologist, you know, basically just kept trying to burn it off 3 times, and it was super painful. And then I went and tried some alternative medicines and stuff like that. They didn't work. Well, what the hell am I going to do? So I really had to open up my mind, figure out what do I need to do, right? None of these topical stuff, whether it be over-the-counter, medicated, or alternative, nothing worked. So I went to the source of the problem. I went to a body talk practitioner who she looked at me and said, oh, well, your gallbladder's not functioning like it needs to. We need to clean that out. And in order to do that, we also need your liver and a few other areas like your kidneys and your heart to function much better. Like, oh boy, you know what? I thought I was healthy. I was doing everything I could to lead a healthy life, having lots of fish or fish oil, and then my multivitamins, tons of vitamin C, and my food habits were excellent, but functioning on the inside just wasn't where it needed to be. And it had been like that for a long time. Remember, I had these things for 7 years. And within just a couple of weeks, I think it was 3 weeks, 3 weeks and maybe 2 sessions, they were completely gone. I was away learning how to surf in Costa Rica with some friends of mine. And by the time we came back after that week, completely gone, no scarring, no trace. I couldn't believe it, just gone. And to this day, I'm like, oh man, this body talk stuff works really well, whether it be something that's physical, mental, emotional, whether you're trying to perform better and it has something called performance agendas. They work amazingly. I use those almost every day on people. It's awesome because you can really prime certain areas that would normally be lagging and allow the body to function much better. You can think clearer. You can actually perform better physically. I had the performance agendas done when it came to me doing the Ironman back in 2009.
Every athlete has 2 hours and 20 minutes to complete the 3.8-kilometer swim. You beat the clock and your day continues.
Right. I had an amazing day. And a lot of that was due to being able to function properly from the inside out. Everybody's got to work together, right? Emotional, mental, physical, spiritual. Everything's got to work together. And man, they certainly did that day. It was phenomenal. So when it comes to continuously learning, always try to be open-minded about what may work, what may not, even if it's something that doesn't seem to connect, right? I've had people come to me with issues like migraines, and the root cause of that could be anything. It could be something emotional. Did you notice that you only get migraines at certain times of the month during your cycle? Or do you notice that the migraines only happen when it comes to certain types of stress that come up at work? Maybe you're a teacher and it's only coming up at the beginning of the school year when you're at your most fragile with people. Sometimes that's happening. So if you're always open to continuously learn, you'll find so many more tools that you can use, not only for your personal growth, but for growth in other areas of your life too, which is great, right? You want to have that most complete life that you can. How are you when it comes to your emotions? Do you fly off the handle real easily? Is everything a 10 out of 10 importance? Or does your emotional intelligence have variances? If you are somebody that can allow yourself to feel the emotions, not just bottle them up or push them down, then great, you're far more ahead of the game. Certainly farther ahead than I was years ago. Because what ends up happening is your body builds up all these mucus walls, and it gets worse and worse and worse. And next thing you know, you've got this chest cavity full of mucus, like black mucus. I physically had black mucus until I tore down these walls with different practitioners helping me out. And man, for 6 weeks, I had this black stuff coming out. I'm not a smoker. I'm not around smokers. So where is this coming from? It's just coming from all of these walls that we build up inside, emotionally, mentally, stuff like that. They physically form tons of mucus walls, and that's how your body reacts to the stress. So allow those walls to come down, and you're going to have a lot easier time breathing because they won't have all this congestion through here, and you'll feel so much better. Really awesome. And as I said, you want the emotions to be felt, but you want them to flow through, right? There's no sense hanging on to any emotion, whether it be happiness, worry, grief, sadness, anger, any of the other ones, frustration, rage. Just want to allow yourself to feel it, then let it go. Because even when it comes to happiness, sooner or later, you're going to notice that, wow, I'm still hanging on to stuff from the past and not allowing new emotions to come in to take its place. Super important message. Make sure you write that down. Now, for your personal growth, how important is it to you to have a support group? I don't mean like people that you're paying, like employees and stuff like that, to be there and to help you out. Or maybe staff at home, like maybe housekeeping services, stuff like that. What I'm talking about is the support group that you have so that you know that certain people that you can count on for very important things in your life. Not just anything, but very important things. And you've got people that are really great at certain things, but hey, do not even approach them about other things because they're not built for that. And I've got people in my life like that. Everybody does. Albert Einstein, whose quote is about asking a fish to climb a tree. Everybody's got their strengths. So when it comes to using those strengths within these people, definitely use them. Use them to be that support that you need so that when it comes time for them to need you, then great. Use your expertise with them. This is about giving and taking with your support group. And it could be anybody. It could be family members. Maybe it's friends. Maybe it's people that you only deal with on a certain level, like maybe work, right? That's what their expertise is. The same thing when it comes to your work, then great. Lean on those people. Lean on anybody that you know that can help you out, and you allow yourself to help these people out, and you're going to be so much richer in your life, and that fulfillment level is going to be so much higher. One thing I really want to stress with regards to emotional intelligence is that you want to know the difference between sympathy and empathy. Both very, very different. Empathy is seeing somebody in the well and you throw down the rope and help them climb up. Sympathy is you seeing somebody down in a well, you taking the rope, pulling it out, and then you jumping down in the well to be with them. Nobody wants that. Sympathy and empathy, very different. Know the difference and really be empathetic with people. Don't put yourself in their shoes because they don't want that. What they want is somebody with a better perspective so that you can help them out. Now, we talked about resiliency, but how quickly can you adapt to new environments, stresses, new people in your life? If you're somebody who takes a while to warm up to, then you're not getting the most out of your life. And you're not doing anybody else any other favor either because you're waiting way too long to connect with people. And in a day of like today, where it is a fast-paced world and faster Wi-Fi connections are all the rage, then hey, let's have a faster connection with people that you want to get to know better. People that would be good for you, that are wonderful at having the similar vibration or maybe just slightly higher vibration, and you want to be a little bit more like them, or at least be able to think more like them. That's huge. Right? Having these kind of people in your life going to be huge. So don't wait to have that connection. Don't wait to feel safe by being reactive to the other person. Be proactive. See if this is the right person or not. It could be time wasted if they're not the right person for you. And the longer you wait to get to know that person, the longer they wait to get to know you. One, you'll miss out because it takes forever. And then number two, you might build up some resentment because, things are just taking too long, which also means that you might miss out on an opportunity because the other person is tired of waiting. If they're tired of waiting for you to open up, then you've lost that opportunity to get to know them and figure it out, right? Are they good for you? Are you good for them? Now, as high achievers, typically very confident people, right? But could your confidence level be even higher? How great would that be, right? Maybe you're really confident in certain areas of your life, but other areas of your life, that confidence level, way down here. If you're going, yes, work life is way up here, but man, when I'm trying to connect with my family, with my kids, boy, my confidence level goes down because it seems like they just don't want to listen, or it seems like they shut me out, whatever it is. Having a high confidence level of different aspects of your life, that's going to be awesome. That also means juggling, right? The better juggler you are of all these different aspects of your life, or some may say, the different hats that you wear. If you can be better at these different areas, and you don't have to be great at everything. All I'm saying is to improve your bottom line on each one, and life is so much easier that way. If you have to learn all these different things all at the same time, man, that is really tough. But hey, you're already good at one thing, and then maybe you get good at something else and bring up another one, and then something else on top of that. Boy, you could be juggling all these wonderful things at a high level, and just enjoying your life, as well as people in your life enjoying you. Kids, imagine how great that is to have that connection with your kids again and say, hey, you know what? They're now leaning on me, and they're asking me questions that I can answer. Or if I don't know the answer, we figure it out together. And our bonding is so much better. Or maybe it's, you and your spouse that need to connect so that you are better with the children, and everybody works better together. How awesome is that when everybody works as a team? Think about how that positively affects everybody in your family, right? Everybody's confidence level, might be up and down, up and down, up and down. But if you're up and down, way up here compared to up and down, down here, that's a way different family life. How great are your decision-making skills? Are you somebody that needs a lot of time to figure out exactly what you need, and then you go after it? Maybe you can cut that time in half by having a little bit more clarity, maybe some more focus in your life. Are you driving through life like San Francisco in the fall? A little tough. With greater clarity and focus in your life, how much easier is that to make those decisions? When you make those decisions on a higher vibrational level, that means that your clarity in your focus, you know exactly what you want and how you're going to get it. Even if it's something brand new, you'll have way better decision-making skills to get you to your goals that much faster. Ever notice people who seem to have their shit together? Their personal growth is like way up here because they seem to know how to communicate with different people, whether it's work-related or it's with their staff. Maybe it's just with the average person on the street, right? Walking by, saying hello. They feel confident enough that they can talk to these people, or even just nod and smile, which of course we know makes people up to 32% smarter. If you're going to be a better communicator, that means that you're going to be a much better listener, right? You're not going to be thinking about what you're going to be saying next as the other person's speaking, because you might be hearing, but you're not listening. So always have the other person's best interest in mind when it comes to communication. The better communicator you are, verbal, nonverbal, right? Visual cues, the better you are at that, man, you will have such an impact, a positive impact on more people in your life. You will also have a ripple effect on all these other people, and they'll have better communication skills. And we all get better. Think about it. We all started nonverbal. We had, hand gestures and things like that to let people know what it is that we're trying to say. And think about what the latest and best thing for infants are right now. They don't teach them to have baby talk anymore. It's about using hand gestures that mimic sign language, right? Want to eat, things like that. And that elevates them because, hey, now they're going to be operating at a much more intelligent level. Their memory is going to be much better. And it all comes down to better communication for all of us. That's how we can increase our personal growth so that we aren't, one, alone. Two, we get more things that we want with greater clarity and focus, because now we can articulate ourselves and how we promote ourselves, right? With how we stand, the hand gestures, things like that. That can tell somebody, all right, you know what? I'm not very comfortable with you right now. Or, hey, this is great. I love what's going on. Let's do something. When it comes to feedback, how great are you at receiving feedback? How great are you at giving feedback? Is your communication, giving the feedback, very clear? Is it muddled a little bit and really hard for people to quite understand exactly what you mean? When it comes to personal growth, giving yourself feedback too, that's important, right? Being honest with yourself, not just looking at all the wonderful rosy things that are out there in your life, but also focusing in on, you know what? I'm not so great as a public speaker in this area. I can do a lot better by doing this. And by doing that, then that will help me get this. And next thing you know, I am a lot more confident of a speaker. Or maybe I can get my point across with far less words that way and far less explanation going on. That helps a lot. Not to mention time management that way, right? These are some amazing tools that you've got to use if you want your personal growth to go through the roof and allow yourself to have so much more time at a level that you really want, right? More fulfillment in your life and to be functioning at a higher level. When you can do these things, boy, that smile on your face happens a lot more often. Thanks for joining. Make sure that you subscribe so that when we do the next episode, you'll get notified right away and you can have your high achieving self grow through the roof. Thank you so much. And thanks for telling your friends. Really appreciate that. They're going to learn so much more and they're going to thank you for it too. Have a wonderful day.